Welcome to the Unicorn After Dark. We're not only talking about all things independent comics, but everything comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at another episode of the Unicorn After Dark, episode number 38 of the podcast. And today, people, we're doing what we promised. Last week when we did our After Dark, we did, a bunch of stuff we covered. Like Marvel Tokon, we covered some movie stuff, we covered some game stuff. It was fun. But also we did a little brief review of Ironheart, a little like non-spoiler review last week, just because there's 3 episodes dropped. We didn't want to do a spoiler review because the show didn't finish yet, so we wanted to wait till the show was over. And the show finished last week. So yeah, we're doing this episode we're doing our full in-depth Ironheart review, covering all 6 episodes and stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Thanks again, Seamus, for joining me as always. You were one of the people that I was like, you know what, Seamus got my back on Ironheart. He knows what's up. So
I think we both are at very similar height levels. We're at very similar interests with this show, and I think we've ended in a similar place with how the show ended.
Absolutely. Also, shout out to the people who are here. Shout out to Cheyenne, who's a good friend of mine from one of my BlurCon homies. Shout out to her. She just found out I had a podcast, which is fine because she's been a little quiet. But love you that you're here. Also, our boy K-Sean. Shout out to K-Sean Henry as always.
K-Sean back.
Absolutely. The spoilers will fly, sir. They will fly. But yeah, people, and just first things first, if you have not, people who will watch this or are watching now, if you have not subscribed, guys, like and subscribe. That'd be great if you could do that. As
Oh shit!
Yeah, we got. This is the one thing that they can let you use for free. It's ridiculous.
Oh shit! Look at that!
Yeah. So listen, get those likes up and subscribe to the channel and check out all the other stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, we're seeing Seamus. We're kind of legit. We're kind of
legit. It's. Listen, once I get a desk and I stop filming these from my bed, then we're gonna be really legit.
I feel like once I get like a full-on mic, like a legit mic. I feel like, and like a neon sign that says has the Unicorn logo in the back. I feel like
once we look like we're filming in the Comic Pop studio, that's when we look legit.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, okay, so let's get into it, bro. Let's get into it. So obviously, we usually do we start with our non-spoiler thoughts first, which we're gonna do, but we also go into usually a positive and negatives. But for the sake of the video, I don't think we need to do that because we'll just talk about that when we do our characters breakdown and all that. But so it's gonna be a little bit more streamlined review, hopefully.
It's going to be a little split up just because the season was split up. So we did that first little review in that other After Dark episode we did, and now we're just really talking about the end. So we want thoughts on the first half. Maybe go watch that one. Maybe go check that out.
Yeah. If you wanted to see a little brief moment of what we thought of the first half, go back into our After Dark 2 weeks ago where we're cut to the Ironheart section because I added chapters for those. You can just skip to the Ironheart section. Also, Cheyenne was saying that she had health issues, but she was taking care of it. But she's back, which again, happy you're healthy.
Very nice.
Healthy and happy you're here. So it's all good. All right, so off rip, Seamus, off rip. Let's give me your overall thoughts of this season as a whole. Now that we've seen the whole thing, what do you think of Ironheart, bro?
I thought that it ended up being pretty solid and pretty fun. I don't think it really it wasn't like this is crazy good or this is the best MCU show. It definitely was a very solid show that was very enjoyable, and I think that having it be 6 episodes, normally I'm like, this doesn't feel like a full TV show, but this felt like a good like a good solidly paced show that it really just gave me more of Ironheart, which is what I like. It introduced, some cool new characters into her world. And I think that by the end of it, it succeeded because it made me want to go, oh, I really would like to see another season of this. I'd like to see what's going on, which I think a lot of MCU shows just struggle nowadays with just making you want to watch another season of it because they're either not meant to be multiple seasons, or they are just like very shoddily made vehicles to make you go like, oh no, this is happening and this is going to connect, and you're like, I don't really care anymore. And I think that is where this was. Its strength was that it wasn't trying to connect to anything else. It was literally just, hey, this is Ironheart, this is what she's doing. It might have some connections to other stuff, but that's not important at all. Here's, if you like Ironheart, then you'll love this, but if you don't, then like, you're not really gonna be here hoping to see like Hawkeye show up or some shit, you know. So I really enjoyed it. This last 3 episodes I thought were better than the first 3, and I was like, this kind of, especially the ending. I was like, I really do want to see another season of this.
We'll get it. We'll get that. We'll talk about the ending. Well, the ending was dope.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I obviously I went in the show with low expectations, you know, because again, like I think we said in the past. Again, we also did a reaction, me and Rebecca. So you want to check that out as well. Like the first trailer they dropped. But I'm not really like that. I wasn't really that excited for Ironheart, even though I did like Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever, because I did like Dominique Thorne's performance in that. So I had low expectations for it. Went into it, first half, really, I actually quite enjoyed. You know, it does have its issues, like, you know, it has, you know, some, even though the pacing overall is okay, is good. There is some pacing problems because it's limited to 6 episodes, so there's a lot of stuff to go through. Some of the dialogue was not the best, you know. But I was entertained. Like I was entertained, and they really did a good job of keeping you engaged, which I really appreciate. So that first half I thought was a good start. And that second half came out, and I was like, man, they're really pushing it. They're really pushing. They're really giving us the 1-2. You know, that big bop, boom bop bam, son. I was like, this is crazy. Like you know, I like they because they're changing it up. But I love how, you know, obviously they do have some similarity. They do showcase some of the similarities that, you know, she has with Tony Stark. But the journey she goes on, especially when we go in towards, like, you know, so this isn't a spoiler, but in terms of like the magic and science integration stuff that they introduce, really makes the character more unique and separate and into her own lane, separate from Tony Stark, which I really enjoyed. You know, and also, like what Seamus said, it was very self-contained. You didn't have to really watch. All I really needed to know was what she went through in Wakanda Forever, and they explained that in the beginning. But other than that, like, there's some nods to like the greater MCU. But overall, I did enjoy how like this was its own thing. It was kind of like Echo. Like, even though Echo, Echo is not the best, but but it was kind of a similar way. It was like, yeah, like it's its own self-contained story with a little bit of Marvel tidbits here and there, but you don't really have to. You can just go into it blind if you wanted to, which I really appreciated. We are saying the later phase of the MCU shows and movies quality has dropped to the point there are people that are experiencing fatigue or apathy towards it. Same with the DCU. I kind of agree with that. Granted, like we've said it before in previous podcasts where it was like the MCU, the issues with, like, especially with Phase 4 and like early Phase 5, that was more. A lot of it was problems that trickled down from the higher ups from Disney. Like,
I was gonna say, I agree with the quote that James Gunn gave to Variety earlier this week, where he said that superhero fatigue is a thing, but it's not fatigue with superheroes themselves. It's fatigue with being given all of these stories that don't really care about the superheroes, and they're more just manufactured to be put out at a pace that is just going to overwhelm everyone. You know, and to make it so that way it's all low quality, it's all just, let's just pump out as much as possible and not actually give the time and detail and attention to these stories to make them actually really good. So I think that's where the fatigue is actually coming from, because I think, you know, you put a superhero movie up, people want to see it because superheroes are fun as fuck. But like, when you've had to just sit through 5 straight years of like, oh, none of these have been really that good, you know, like, of course people are going to be like, yeah, I don't really care anymore, you know. So I think that this is like a step in the right direction. Yeah, I hope this plus Superman plus Fantastic Four will make me like kind of interested, at least, you know. We keep fucking mentioning it though, but like RDJ Doom, I just can't do it, dude. Yeah. I can't get excited. Yeah, I think that now that I hope that Marvel locks in. By the sounds of it, DC has locked in with James Gunn. I think things are going to be looking up in the future for at least DC, but like
DC at least,
yeah, it definitely
Marvel,
is something. It definitely is something to talk about, and it definitely directly affected the show with how it was released. Because the show released in 3 episode batches is just so weird, and you could obviously tell that it was made during that period where they were literally greenlighting and filming as many shows as they possibly could, and then as soon as Bob Chapek stepped down and Bob Iger came back, they were like, "Oh no, wait, actually, we're not doing that." But we already filmed Ironheart and did it, so let's just throw it out there on a random weekend. And here's the thing: do you think they were going to schedule it for like some other time, and then Sinners really popped off, and they were like, "Oh wait, we can slap Ryan Coogler's name on this and maybe get some extra views"? Like 2 months after.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, this thing was shot like 3 years ago during the Chapek
That's
era.
what I'm saying.
Like,
this was shot like a while ago. So do you think they were just waiting for a moment where they were like, "Oh, here's a place where we could just throw it"?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but also at the same time, it's like the strikes. Oh, I also heard the strikes that happened like a year or two ago now. Really affected the way everything was scheduled. So like, I feel like it was inevitable for it to come out like this year, but
I was gonna say though, it already was written and they already finished acting it. Like the whole thing was done for like a full like year and a half.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of. I feel like it makes a little bit of sense that this would drop now, like drop at least this year. But like, I wouldn't be surprised because of the success of Sinners, they just pushed it up. But yeah. But yeah, hold on. Shino saying, I'm a lifelong nerd in a variety of fandoms since the womb. There are decades worth of source material, heroes, villains, etc. are fun. They can go well, so they can go so well. But the executive, it's always the executives. I always get tired of executives not thinking that they know better than the creators and not letting creators cook.
That's why DC has me so excited, just because James Gunn is like constantly saying stuff that I want to hear from an executive, which is like, yeah, I want to let people make good movies, and I won't let them make those good movies until they have entirely finished like writing a script and showing me it. And then I'll decide if it's good or not, and if it's not good, we won't make the movie. And it's like, yeah, that seems like pretty like common sense stuff when you're an executive. Ironheart definitely affected by this stuff, sadly, but like it still came out well despite all this shit that's around it, which I'm like surprised, and I would like to see it the second season, if they ever do a second season, get like more time, more space, just allow them to like maybe cook a little more, so that way
a longer season. Because again, it was that was the one thing that like kind of bothered me with the show, was the fact that like only had 6 episodes to tell a story that had, even though the story was solid, there was still a lot more potential they could have gone with it, if they had more time, which I hope they do go that route next season.
I think if you're doing all these shows, they should all be 12 episodes, and if you can't have a pitch that makes it to 12 episodes, then don't do the show.
Yeah.
If you like pitch shit for 12 episodes, because I think if you're going under 12 episodes, like it's not a show at that point, and you're not going to have enough time to actually like tell a story. You're just going to have enough time to like, do a cool little thing, which Ironheart did a cool little thing, and it was a pretty solid character arc, but it wasn't like a full like season of a show. It was just like a little a
little blip.
Yeah.
It was like, well, granted, like, even in the past, like, I remember they tried to ship Echo as like a Marvel spotlight, which like, they got rid of that, when that show kind of hit the fan, but which I mean, yeah, they could still kind of do that format if they wanted to. Like, yeah, like we're gonna have 12 long episode seasons, but if we want to tell more shorter stories, you can do like maybe like 6 episodes. Like I want to have like what they did with Ironheart, like 3 episodes one week and then 3 episodes the next. I kind of could see that working for them in the future if they wanted to. But yeah. What else I want to say? Oh yeah, I thought the cast overall was good. Well, I mean, we're gonna go through characters, but I thought the cast was well done, and they worked well with the material that they were given. For sure. Love how Ryan Coogler was still attached to this, because I love how I like how like this is still kind of his little pocket of the MCU, obviously along with like Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Like, you know, there was still a little bit of that, you know, obviously different because this is set in Chicago. This is focused on, you know, a different young black, you know, a young black female genius, you know, outside of, you know, Shuri and Wakanda. And this one felt like, you know, a lot more grassroots, a lot more grounded, which I really did appreciate. And, you know, it was, but it still had that little bit of that little Black Panther flavor, you know, a little bit of the culture show in Chicago, the music, you know, this show, I really enjoyed. I was telling Seamus and Rebecca when we were watching it together, the last episode together last week on Discord, how just like this show was like very black coded, and there's shit that's like, you know, that is very in line with the culture, and I really, really love that, you know.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I didn't like the show, actually. I didn't like how she disrespected Tony Stark like that.
Yeah, man. You know?
Dude, okay, people actually getting mad at that. It's like, dude, who cares? You're defending a fictional character that doesn't exist, like he's your dad. Like, who cares if she shits on Iron Man a little bit? She doesn't even know the fucking dude. She just respects him a little bit. She's also like, well.
And even that hint that they like, people thought she was Iron Man. She even said in the first episode that like she didn't really want to roast him because she does understand how important his contributions are to like science. Like he did build something that build. You know, and she said I'm not gonna roast him off rip, and it's off rip, by the way, not off the rip. To the non-melanated out there, you know who you are.
Off the rip. That was crazy when you sent me that. I said off the rip. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
I cringed so hard. And we're talking about like another YouTuber that said that and like rolled their eyes when they did it. I'm just like, it was clear to like, you don't have black friends. You need black friends. Because luckily Seamus has me, and I say that shit all the time. So like, you know what I mean? So he knows what's up. But yeah, like, and there's that side of the aisle where it's a lot of people that honestly are either just hate. Like, look, like I remember when this show dropped, and I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was seeing reviews from both sides, people that loved it, and it was mostly like people, you know, it was majority of people of color that like I saw that were loving and praising the show, and also like people like, you know, of other backgrounds who are more open-minded, who love the show, you know, but also like criticize it, you know, as they should, obviously, because the show isn't perfect. But that other side of the aisle where it was like a lot of people who are portraying a certain narrative, a certain anti-woke, racist, misogynist narrative, that were literally taking the show at face value and weren't actually like taking the time to dissect it, look at it in context, and just, you know, go off of it. Because like I think Coogler even said it. Like I saw an interview from while I was working. I was listening to a podcast that he was on, and he was saying that like I honestly was making this show for us. That's why it makes sense why a lot of people who are black or, you know, people of color really were digging this show a lot, and people on the other side who were just hating just to hate, who didn't really care much about it, because it wasn't really, he was making it for us. Know what I mean? For us. And if it bothers people, so what? Honestly, I mean, we'll probably get into more of what.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that is something that the MCU desperately needs to start realizing. Is like, hey, you don't have to make every show for everyone. Like, you can have shows that are for a specific group of people or for a specific audience, and then just flesh out the characters in that. And then when they do the team ups, just, you know, have those characters be who they are, and then they will be fun enough and fleshed out enough that you can be like, oh, I might want to check out that thing that I might not have otherwise wanted to check out, because, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or they can just see them as fun characters and go, cool, I don't really need more of that. But like the people who do, great, you know? And I just think the MCU is so focused on trying to make everything important when it doesn't, not all of it needs to be required viewing, you know? Yeah. Some of it can be like, yeah, I want to watch like a fucking like the Wonder Man show later this year. Like, that's for me. I want to watch a Wonder Man show. I like I like Wonder Man. Like, that's going to be cool for me, but I'm also not going to like look at people weird if they're like, no, I'm not watching the new Wonder Man show. Because like, it's not for you, man. I don't want to hear you talk about my boy like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good that the MCU is doing more of this kind of stuff, because like I like it and it's been good. So
And Cheyenne's also saying that also Tony Stark was known as a messy crash out of an alcoholic in the comics. That's not even the tip of the iceberg, but Robert Downey Jr. depicted is bled into even animated cartoons. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we'll get into more of that stuff, especially when we talk about Riri, especially with the hate involving here, because this show, people that don't know, got review bombed like literally like the day before it even came out on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got so bad that Rotten Tomatoes had to literally take out all of the reviews and then block all the posters that posted said reviews, and then had to pretty much make their own like little embargo, and people can only review Ironheart like an hour or two after like they drop all the episodes. So like this show was gonna get a lot of hate for a start, for many reasons. But it's more of the story is like when I said this like on IG, I was like, y'all don't like the only reason why you're hating on Ironheart as much as you are is because you hate black women. That's pretty much it. Just straight up. Like
I mean, yeah, that's what a lot of this, especially oddly in the comic book space, a lot. This right-wing grifting just honestly boils down to straight up just racism and sexism to the point where it's not I don't want to be like the good old days of grifting online, but it used to at least be somewhat like, they used to have somewhat sound reasoning, and they used to have to be able to think through their grift to make it sound like they had actual criticisms. You know what I mean? But now all they do is they straight up just get online and they're like, "Oh, black person, am I right?" And you're like, dude, this is so lazy. This is like the laziest racism I've ever seen. Like, come the fuck on. At least try to like make up a reason.
If you're gonna hate on something or be critical about something, at least have some justification behind that criticism.
Yeah, at least watch the show. Think through points that you could at least try to be like, oh, I didn't like that. No, they don't even do that. They don't even watch the show anymore. They just play like 3 clips of like a black woman acting really well, and they're like, am I right? And you're like, what the fuck, dude? They all look insane.
Honestly, and just to come around, in fact, like I want to mention this real quick before we move on to the spoilers. But I don't know if you saw Marvel posted on like their socials and on their YouTube, like it was a whole conversation between RDJ and Dominique Thorne talking about Ironheart because he watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, dude, that was the fucking. Do you see? I'm sorry, this is so not at all why you brought this up. But did you see RDJ wearing the West Coast Avengers t-shirt?
Yeah, it was awesome.
That threw me off. I was like, what a sweet message. But Robert, you are wearing a shirt that is absolutely taking away from that message right now. Because I cannot focus on anything other than the West Coast Avengers shirt.
And I was watching, I was like, and just seeing them talk to each other, it was very sweet. It was very kind of, he was really praising Dominique a lot because I thought she did a really good job. I thought she did a good job with her performance in this. But like, I saw a comment and it had me laughing. I just had it, and I have it right here. And it spoke me so much, because like while you're listening to it and like you're hearing what RDJ took from the episodes, like what he gathered from it, like his thoughts and perspective on it, he was, even though he is getting paid to do this, but like which obviously is gonna take into account, but I thought it was great when someone said in the comment, he was like, they were like, RDJ has a better grasp of the Ironheart show than 75% of these so-called comic book fans. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that. Even if he's paid to do it, that is still a great thing that Disney needs to start doing more for their actors, is protecting them in ways like that by being like, nah, dudes, you want to use Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man as a shield to be racist? Like, no. Here, we literally have him on camera going, I love Ironheart. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And that's the type of shit they need to start doing more to, like, their actors and actresses who are, like, so, because they know that this shit's going to happen now. So it feels like for ever since Captain Marvel was released, it feels like they could have been doing this with, with Iman Vellani, with like any of those actresses who were totally gonna face that shit. But better late than never.
And that's the thing, and it was really nice to like seeing RDJ like praise her performance, just get excited about the show. It's like, bro, she got the cosign from RDJ. Y'all can go fuck yourself. She don't need to hear y'all bullshit anymore. She's good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Cheyenne saying over here says that she's like, it's massage noir, right wing dumb shittery. They're the same ones to like X-Men and get why politics there makes sense. Listen, Cheyenne, do me a favor. Since you're new to the channel, go back to our X-Men 97.
Go to the X-Men 97 review, please. It's so funny.
And our X-Men 97 review, as well as our reaction for the trailer that we did. We talk about all that shit. You'll love it. All right, you'll love it. That shit, that was so funny. Oh my god, that dude who was like,
that one episode of X-Men 97 where they had that one dude who was attacking Scott, and he was like, "That's all you mutants do is whine." And I told you about that tweet I saw where that right winger was like, "This dude's making a lot of sense. He's right. All these mutants do is whine." And it's like, dude, he's a terrorist. Like, he's killing civilians, and you're like,
oh man,
these grifters. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I know we're going on about these grifters, but these grifters really, like, this show was really like honed in on by the grifters for some reason, and it's because it's literally just like a black woman is the lead, you know. And it's like anytime there's anytime there's a woman as the lead, they get really antsy. But every time there's a non-white woman, they get really like they hyper focus in on it, and it's like, dude, like who cares? Honestly,
look at Miss Marvel. Not as bad as Heat, but still adds me to it when Miss Marvel.
And I don't want to be mean to the cast and crew that created the show, but like, do you really think that the culture as a whole cares about Ironheart? Like United States culture that you are trying to grift to. Do you think they care about Ironheart? That all these right wingers are going to be really up in arms that Iron Man's success is a black woman? Because like, I don't think they're really going to give a shit that much about a Disney Plus show that's 6 episodes and was released in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And it's all the shit that they just feed on. They just constantly feed off this hate. They're like fucking like weird little leeches, and it's so annoying to me that they just constantly do this to every show, no matter how big or small. And like, they ruin the discussion around it to the point where you have to like cordon off an entire section to be like, all right, forgetting about that, you know?
All right, hold on real quick. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna piss off some of these grippers as I choose to cosplay their beloved X-Men waifu, starting with Psylocke LMAO, and she's a great cosplayer, by the way. So I'm
exactly like, and they're getting mad at people cosplaying, and it's like, dude, that someone's like openly a fan of the fucking thing that you like. Like, what are we doing? Like, it should be exciting that there's more people getting involved and the right people getting involved and getting hyping up about the shit that you like. That they're like, yeah, I like that so much too that I also want to cosplay. And it's like,
And then she said, better yet, I'll mash up Yoruichi from Bleach and then Storm just to do the most.
Stop.
As you should.
Stop it. Oh my lord.
As you should.
I'm better.
And tomorrow, people saying they grifted are just masking up again. Red hats, mask agents is the new white hoods. Absolutely, damn right.
It is. It literally is. They just come on and they don't even like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't even call them grifters anymore because they're not really grifting. They're just like being horrifically racist online and being like, you know, because like I think before there was a lot of people who were horrifically racist online, but they were really in it for the money. And now I think all these guys, like all these new dudes who are grifting on the show, they're just horrifically racist for the love of the game, which is insane to me. It's insane.
All right, even though we got our grift around out of the way, we're gonna probably do a little more. But yeah, any more thoughts? Before we go on to the spoilers.
No. Fuck every single one of these grifters. Stop ruining my shit, man. I'm trying to fucking watch this show. I don't want to hear about what you have to say about cranial measurements or whatever ancient racism you're using to try to discredit the show that was actually pretty good. Fuck off and die, maybe?
Yeah.
Try that next time?
Moral of the story is we like this show. And
more of the story is let's start judging these shows based off their quality and not trying to just be horrifically racist and use them as culture war talking points, and instead just going like, hey, did I like the show? Because guess what? This show was good. Like, fuck you.
Facts. All right, people. So now if you haven't watched Ironheart at all, which I mean we recommend you do check it out. Leave the podcast, please, or stop watching and go watch that shit first, and then come back. So yeah, now we're gonna. Usually we have a video that I like to put because StreamYard is they're a bunch of fucking greedy assholes, and I can't put this video up. I'm just gonna put the banner up instead. So now we are in spoiler territory, people. So spoilers.
Yeah, you can't use the right to censor theme anymore, man.
I can't. It's annoying.
I love that. That was always like my mid 2000s WWE pop of the night. That I'd be like,
yeah, man, it sucks. But to our people also saying, yeah, that's Operation Hollywood, though. I'm like, yeah, that's also true. But all right, so now we're gonna get into characters. Because again, we usually do what we like, what we didn't, but I'm cutting that off right now just to make it a little easier on us. But yeah, so characters. Also, obviously, we gotta go with the lead character here. The lead character, our girl, our smart girl, our girl with the big brain, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, played by Dominique Thorne. And she doesn't call herself Ironheart at all in the show, but it's just like I just put that there just because that's who she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, just to off rip, I really did enjoy seeing Riri's journey throughout the whole course of the show. And I do really like, that they do the whole, again, to kind of mirror her from Tony Stark, where like, she, even though she is a genius, I mean, obviously she is a genius, and she goes to MIT, she gets kicked out of MIT in the beginning of the show, but she's kind of an asshole in the show. Like she's not, like, she literally, like, she loves to get, like, she, even though what she wants to do is very noble, and and is doing it from out of good faith, she'll do whatever it takes for her to get there. Like, whether it is blackmailing people, coercing people into doing what she wants, not asking for help, pushing the people that she loves away just for the sake of of achieving the goal that she wants, which is to build these suits that they can make to protect people. So yeah, I really did like that. Like it's not like a mix of like, a Marvel character has to be either black or white. She was a mix of, she was a nice little shade of gray.
Well, I think that's why he's such like a Tony Stark successor, because Tony was the same way. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people forget, is that Tony was exactly like that, where he was like, hey, listen, man, if it comes down to it, I will do anything to protect the Earth. Like, and that means anything. And the question was always, is it actually anything? Like, would he actually sacrifice himself, or would he not? You know what I mean? And that was his entire character arc. And that's why I liked Ironheart and her kind of shades of gray character arc so much, because it was like would she sacrifice as shit to like actually do anything? And like pretty quickly the answer is yes, with everything that she does, try to build her suit and do all that. And I think that's what is like the most interesting part of the show, at least for me watching it, was seeing this character who was someone who did want to do good, and she did want to help her community, but she also was willing to do whatever it took to actually achieve that goal. And that's the kind of like variation in character that I think we need now, because like it has gotten a little too stale, a little bit, you know what I mean? And I'm like, because that's the kind of thing that when you introduce her in like a teen movie or something like that, then it's going to be far more interesting when she has those debates and arguments where someone's trying to be like, hey man, we can't do that, and she's like, listen, we're fucked, we got to do whatever. Like this, we're getting down to it, people are fucking dying, and that's why I ended up really, really liking her character in this. And part of the reason why I'm really excited for like a season 2 is, especially, again, we'll get to the ending, but like where the ending leaves off, it's like he did like the ultimate version of that.
Honestly, and the thing is, one of the things I really did enjoy, I thought was very interesting with her character, where it's like, because one of the things I talked about in the reaction that we did with Rebecca and I was that I really wanted them to showcase like what's gonna be her separation between her and Tony Stark. Like, I'll acknowledge the fact, I want them to really acknowledge the fact that like, even though Tony was also a genius, he had a much bigger advantage in terms of what he was able to accomplish because he comes from wealth, right? Like he had money. He had money and access that obviously Riri doesn't, being a black woman in America, which showcased at the beginning, because of, even though she was going to MIT, and and that's one of the reasons why I was like bothered with someone like the chud saying, oh, like, why does she need to, why does she even need to revert to crime when she was working at MIT and she had grant money? Like, knowing that grant money usually is just meant for like tuition, not like projects. And she was working, she was hustling, giving these white students, their homework assignments, like she was making money, but like, so I did like the fact that like, they really showcase like, like because she doesn't have the resources that Tony Stark has and the opportunities that she has, she's a lot more hungrier than he is, which I would Also, again, like people were talking about how she was building her suit or making her money by doing like sus shit, like doing homework for other students and stuff like that, and it's like, motherfucker, how the fuck did Tony make his money? My man was called the Merchant of Death. He was in Afghanistan selling nukes in the first fucking movie. Like, his whole thing was he had a glass of fucking champagne going like, hey, watch me bomb this small village. Like,
Like, that's like the whole point. It's supposed to parallel the fact that, yeah, she makes her money illicitly. It's just that she's already making her money illicitly for a good cause, whereas Tony was making his money illicitly for something that was like relatively like horrific. And Tony has the change of heart to be like, oh, I should be using this stuff for good. Whereas since Ironheart's already using this stuff for good, it's, oh, what exactly should I be sacrificing, or what how far should I actually be going to get the stuff, you know? And I think that kind of delineation between the characters is what makes Ironheart a great Iron Man successor, and also makes her different in an interesting way. You know what I mean? And it's like this simple shit that like you'd think that other MCU shows would have done, but just don't do.
Yeah.
You know?
Tomorrow people were saying those, he had no money, no opportunities, grants go like X amount of months far alone, which is true. And those are saying, plus I bet there were big money predators looking to exploit her, which is where I think the hood comes in. Like, I love the fact that, yeah, because Riri is willing to is through the circumstances that she's in, and is willing to go that extra length to get what she wants done accomplished. It made a lot more sense why she would hook up with she would get with the hood and then go into more of like, you know, that criminal element, you know, in order to receive the funds to, you know, accomplish her goals, which is why I really liked how charming. I mean, we'll talk about the hood, like we'll talk about her a little bit later, but like I love that interaction when they first meet each other, where like he literally tries his best to coerce her with, hey, like I want you to accomplish your goals, I want you to be able to, like, you know, reach your full potential by working for us. I really did like the fact that, yeah, like it made sense, you know. Like, if you were in her place, if you were in her shoes, like, you would do the same thing. Like, in my opinion, like, you need money to work on these suits. Suits cost money, so whenever you can get money, you'll do it. And it's not like Marvel characters don't commit crimes. They commit crimes all the time. Like, you know, like,
yeah. I don't know. That's like what makes the superhero interesting. Like, it's crazy to say this shit when DC had this shit figured out with Guy Gardner, like in like the 70s. You know what I mean? They were like, oh, what if there was a superhero that was just an asshole everyone hated? Wouldn't that be interesting to see how he interacted? And you're like, I don't know, like, yeah, we should see more variations in these characters, that they aren't all just the same, you know, archetype of being good. And I think that that's one of the things that was lost with the MCU Spider-Man adaptation, is they forgot that Peter's kind of like an asshole, and that's kind of why you love him, is he's a little sarcastic asshole who was bullied as a kid, and now that he has this power, he's kind of like, he tries to ride high, but he's constantly getting knocked down, that you feel bad for him, you know? Like, Peter's supposed to be kind of like an Always Sunny character, that you're like, oh, he's kind of a dick, but I also want to see him succeed. But and it's that type of character variation that the MCU just like has lost, I think, by and large, except for like John Walker is like the only one I can think of where they actively are trying to keep him an asshole without fully switching him into being a good guy. And I think that that's the type of you know, character delineation that we need to see more of if we're gonna, like, you know, have any more of these fucking movies. And I pray to the Lord Jesus that the X-Men they keep the X-Men intact, because this kind of thing is like paramount to the X-Men working, is all these people who are kind of on the same side but have such varying degrees of how bought into each side they are. Like, you know, it's so important to me that they do this shit right, man. I'm gonna be so mad.
I know.
But like I said, this is a good sign. Thunderbolts was a good sign. I'm hoping that this is the new direction they start taking these things in, if I'm going to be watching more of this shit.
Yeah. And the thing I did like also the fact that, like, you know, she, while throughout the course of the story, she, like, even though she is a genius, but she is making mistakes. She is, like, you know, not doing the best things, you know, to get what she wants. Like,
that's what I'm saying. She's a genius. She's a genius, but she's also 20.
Yeah, she's also 20. And, like, again, this, like, she was unlikable in the context of, like, what the story was setting up, what in the context of the plot, which I really thought was great. And then but also the fact that also they added them also, like, you know, but she's suffering from, like, you know, trauma. Like, again, she's suffering from PTSD, anxiety due to what happened with, you know, the loss of her best friend and her stepdad, which I thought was, you know, was also a really good emotional.
It was also like a classic superhero thing, which I love.
Yeah. You know,
they were like, yeah, her dad's dead, and so many chuds were like, oh yeah, of course she's black, of course her father is dead and not there. And you're like, no dude, she's a superhero, of course her parent is dead. Like, you're looking at it from the wrong angle, man. Exactly. It's not a race thing, it's a superhero thing. All superheroes have fucked up parent issues, you know, like this was required.
But they do, especially in the second half, that she does actually, you know, take the time to actually learn from her mistakes, you know, and realize, like, you know, she should let people in. She should always, you know, ask for help when she needs it, and also to, like, you know, not, you know, be an asshole, you know, even though she's still a little bit of an asshole, but it's, you know, it's.
Yeah, I like that though, because that's exactly why I like Tony whenever he's in a team setting, is that even when he is a good guy, he's still a bit of an asshole. Yeah, well, you know what I mean?
The same arc the similar arc that she kind of did, you know.
And I think I said it in another video we did in the past year or so. I definitely did say it. I remember I was saying, like, I was like, more, they need to let superheroes be assholes again, because some of them are assholes and some of them are kind of annoying and some of them are kind of dicks. And like I feel like every superhero now on a superhero team is kind of like the same, like, yeah, I'm agreeable. And you're like, no, dude, like, no, what the fuck? Like the biggest asshole we got other than Iron Man was like Rocket. And everyone else was kind of just like the same. And it's like, no, dude, Spider-Man's supposed to be kind of annoying. You know, Tony's supposed to be kind of an asshole. Steve is supposed to kind of be like too stuck in his ways that you're like, all right, man, no, we can't just like fucking run in and save everyone. We're going to die. Like, you're a super soldier. Good for you. You can tank that. Hawkeye's going to get shot in the head. You know what I mean? And shit like that you're like, and it's, I like that we're returning to a character who is flawed. And it seems it's character writing 101, but I'm glad we're at least going back to character writing 101 so we can get interesting characters again.
What did you think about that moment where she she quote unquote kills the Hood's cousin? I'm forgetting his name, but because I remember like a lot of people that were hating on the show were like, oh, like, why did she killed someone? Iron Man would never kill him, bro. Iron Man in Iron Man 1 killed like a bunch of Arabs, like, off rip. Like
Iron Man literally killed gangs of the Taliban. Here's my issue with the killing thing. The killing thing is it's different for me. I think when it's like Iron Man killing like large swaths of like supposed terrorists. I think he was killing the Taliban in that movie or something. Iron Man killing that, or like Steve killing like swaths of Hydra. I think that's very different than say like John Walker like executing someone with the shield.
Right?
You know what I mean? And that's literally like the point, because everyone likes to bring that up and they like to be like, well, Iron Man and Cap have killed a bunch of people, and it's like, yeah, but Iron Man and Cap weren't like executing people. They weren't forcing like these people to like stand on their knees and like cry and beg for forgiveness and then executed them. Like, they were just killing people because they were going to get killed. You know what I mean? It was defensive. It wasn't offensive. And I feel like when Ironheart killed his cousin, I was like, whoa, this is kind of like, whoa, hold on.
and also Rebecca's here. Shout out to Rebecca. And it's just, also told us to pop off and you said Iron Man is a war criminal. Tony Henry.
Iron Man is a war criminal, but and that's why he's funny. You know what I mean? That's why he kind of works, because you're like, he's killing like large swaths of the Taliban. He said he was going to be better, and by being better and like I can't use my weapons anymore. Or no, it was like, I can't sell weapons anymore, so I'm just going to be the weapon over there killing the Taliban. And it's so funny that that's what they did, because like I love Iron Man 1, but it was such like a misunderstanding of the character for him to be like, yeah, I'm going to now go over there and kill swaths of the Taliban instead of my weapons. And it's like, that's kind of like not at all what Iron Man was, but
and here's the thing too. It's like, even with Riri's kids, I remember I saw them, like, she killed someone, Iron Man, whatever. Even though we've said that Iron Man has killed a bunch of people like the past like 10 years of the MCU, but at the same time, it's like, did anyone forget that this person tried to, like, it was in self-defense, this person tried to kill her, and it also wasn't her that directly was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here." It was Natalie that did it, like the AI who was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get you out of here," and she got it, and she got her out of there. Like, you know, she didn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like an indirect killing that you were like, "Oh, cool, interesting." She indirectly killed someone. I wonder how she's gonna react to that. But so many other people were focused on like, "Look, she killed. They should cancel the show because she's black." And you're like, "What? Where'd you get that from, man? Like, what the fuck?"
You know how she reacted to it? She had a fucking panic attack, like a normal person would after experiencing something like that.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna sound right wing here. I think that as important it is to talk about mental health, I do feel like in the past 4 or 5 years, we have gotten a lot of TV shows and movies that have tried to put in anxiety or mental health issues. And I feel like it's too many. And the only reason I feel like it's too many is because I feel like a lot of them don't really do it well, or don't really have the capabilities or the at least the story to be able to talk about that stuff. Like, listen, I love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but like, I don't understand why Puss just randomly had a panic attack and we had to talk about mental health in the middle of that. Like, sure, that worked fine. They did it for 2 seconds, but it's stuff like that I'm like, I don't know if I needed that. But in this show, I was like, oh, that makes sense in the story. They handled that well. They actually let that moment sit for a second and go like, whoa, hold on. Let's actually work through this for a second. And I think that this was one of those ones where I was like, yo, that was well done. This is the type of shit I want to see when you start bringing the shit up. Not like just like a quick 2 second, like, hey, I'm having a panic attack. Hey, I'm actually good now because I like grounded myself. Anyway, panic attacks happen to people, guys. And you're like, yeah, I know, dude. I fucking get them. You don't see me looking at the camera going like, hey, guys. You know, but I did like that moment a lot. I thought that was like solid. And I was like, interesting. Another good character moment that like is making Riri seem more of like a fleshed out character than just like, hey, this is the new show star. I hope you guys like her. And then leaving it at that, like they did with like Miss Marvel.
Yeah. And Rebecca saying that literally 50% of MCU's problems can be traced directly back to Tony Stark. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why it's funny. That's why I like Tony, because like 90% of the time he was like, guys, I could fix this. And then he just makes like Adolf Hitler too. And he's like, guys, I fucked up. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? Maybe stop doing shit. Maybe retire, man. You're kind of doing all this shit.
And the thing is, like, outside of just to move on a little bit, outside of the character like of Riri, I let's talk about her suit evolution real quick. I love her suit evolution in this. Yes, all the suits, because like we start off, obviously we have the suit from Wakanda Forever, which was dope, which I thought was good. Like, you know, I didn't think the suit was amazing. I don't think like some of it didn't work. Like for I think some aspects of it didn't work in terms of the look, but I thought it was cool. And we start off with like the MIT suit, which is like kind of like looks more like a typical like Iron Man, you know, tone like Iron Man, like War Machine kind of like looking suit. Then we get, you know, the grassroots, like, you know, the grassroots, like it's like what, like the Mark III version of her suit, where it's more looks like it's more clunky, more like a junkyard suit, which is where she rocks like most of the, which she rocks for most of the season. It reminds me more of like a better looking version of her suit that she had in her debut in the Iron Man comics. Like, you know, that was more of an homage of like Iron Man's Mark One, like which I like. That's why I like that suit a lot. Then we obviously move on to the Mark IV, the Mark V, yeah, I guess the Mark V, yeah, the Mark V suit, which is more of like the magic infused suit, which I think is dope. Which is obviously modeled, which is obviously taken from the car that her stepdad had, that awesome like red Mustang that was in their garage. So I'm really happy with the suit that she has now. Again, shout out to Rebecca, because like I low-key think this suit would have been good. Would have been dope if it was hot pink. Not gonna lie, like, you know, like how it was in the comics.
I was gonna say, like,
it still looks dope.
None of these suits have really wowed me yet, or made me go like, whoa, that's really cool. They've all just been like fine, and even that last one is fine. But even if it was pink, I'd still be like, yeah, you know. Yeah, okay. I just don't know what it is about these designs. I just think that I don't know. Maybe they're too smooth. Maybe they just don't. They all look like, I don't know. It all looks like they're one piece to me. And I liked when Iron Man's looked like it was a bunch of different pieces put together. You know, I don't know. It's just something about it that I'm like, I don't know what it is. I can't really articulate why I don't like it, but I don't really like a lot of it.
I mean, the first one I thought was like, I thought it was generic. I did like the second one a good amount, again, because it just like they took the Iron Man one, like the Mark 1 from Iron Man and what her debut look was in the comics, and then just made it a little more, I don't know, more junkyardy, more a little bit more tougher. I kind of like that look. And the last one, I just think it looks sleek as fuck. Like I like it. Like if you, it's like if you took a Mustang and turned it into like a red Mustang or a red muscle car and turned that into a fucking suit and infuse magic into it, that's what it would look like to me. I love the design. I'm curious to, if when they drop the concept art of this, I want to see what it looked like in like what the concept artist interpreted of it, because I like this design a lot for Riri going forward. But yeah, overall, bro. Any more thoughts on Riri before we move on, or chilling? All right, so yeah, we'll just move on to the next batch of characters. These two are on the same side, but N.A.T.A.L.I.E and Ronnie Williams, played by Lyric Ross and Anji White. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not, the first half. I think I mentioned it 2 weeks on the last After Dark we did, a non-spoiler review. I was a little annoyed. I thought N.A.T.A.L.I.E was annoying at first, honestly, because I thought it was the typical, like, just like, like black best friend that we've seen, like that trope that we've seen in like other stuff before. But then we got to like, then they added those complexities with, N.A.T.A.L.I.E as an AI, without her being a remnant of being created from Riri's brain scans. I thought was a really smart idea, because I'm not sure what they did with the N.A.T.A.L.I.E AI in the comic book, but I didn't like the fact that if Riri was going to have the idea of making an AI stemming off of her own brain scans, and obviously she's going through the trauma of the loss of her best friend and her stepdad, it would make sense that the AI would manifest as as her best friend. You know what I mean? As like the person that you want in your head 24/7 to guide you on the suit would be your best friend. Your best friends like would mimic like the look and the personality of your best friend. I thought that was a kind of a smart way how they incorporate that into the plot. But also adding the complexities of N.A.T.A.L.I.E in this, because like they kind of like cross the line where it's like, yeah, N.A.T.A.L.I.E is just an AI, but like, is she more than an AI? Because like, is she alive? Is she, is she your own? Like, is she able to, like, because I thought it was a little dangerous. And I remember, what's her name? Shout out to Fantastic Fancy, because she addressed this. But like, I don't know if Riri really realized how dangerous N.A.T.A.L.I.E is, because N.A.T.A.L.I.E was able to think for herself. She kicked Riri out of the suit a few times and just left, to pursue her own thing. Know what I mean? For a few moments. Like there was one shot in the fourth or fifth episode where N.A.T.A.L.I.E was just like, as the Ironheart suit was sitting like on a rooftop, looking at the real N.A.T.A.L.I.E and just trying to model herself, trying to smile like she was. And it's like adding more of a human element to her. It's like, I thought that part of the character was really interesting, and it was like, yeah, like is she alive? Like is she her own separate entity?
Yeah, dude. That's like asking if Ultron or Vision is alive. Like, yeah. Like she is. Yeah. I don't have much to say about these characters. I like them. The only thing I really want to say is, I think if in a regular episode show, if like a 12 episode show, I think I would like these characters way more, because they would have their own actual arcs and they would have more time to actually like be characters, and not just like random cameos in Riri's story that just kind of show up and have their own little like, you know what I mean? And I like N.A.T.A.L.I.E. I like Ronnie, but like I said, they just didn't feel like they had enough time to actually be their own characters, and they
Which is
felt
what
more like
about it this show too as well. Like
yeah.
that's why I feel like we needed more time with them. But
That's what I'm saying. These characters felt more like plot devices than actual characters, and like sometimes you get like a cool little like shade of like that would be that seems like a cool character direction, but like they could never actually do anything with it because they didn't have enough time, you know.
And also with Ronnie, I liked Anji White's performance. They these two are a good example of like, yeah, they did a good job of what they were given and the amount of time they had. But like, I did like Ronnie was just like, yeah, like she's just a black mom that cares about her daughter's well-being and safety. And just like, and just wants to be closer to her after they both experienced a huge loss, and which is one of the things that like I think we would forget that like her mother lost the love of her life. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like and the fact that we ignored that throughout the course of the show but realizes that towards the end, I was like, I thought that was great. But there was someone I saw like some chud complaining about why would Miss Williams decide to go after Mephisto and so like to go after the Hood and help Riri out when they could have just ran like a regular person. When I'm like, you've never met a black mom before in your life, have you? Like real talk. Like
it's just like,
let's be real. Like black moms, shout out to black moms. They would dead ass fight the devil if they were meant protecting their child off rip. My mom would kill a motherfucker to save my life. I love black coded as fuck. I love how they incorporated that into that, to that character. I know a lot of moms are like Ronnie Williams,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's smart people saying, I'm glad Magic was involved with N.A.T.A.L.I.E. It made no sense up until they revealed the Hood's influence. And he says he keeps thinking N.A.T.A.L.I.E. was just a spell used to influence Riri. I don't know. Did you get that in the show? It's a cool theory.
No. I just think it's. I don't know. I don't need it to be a spell to influence Riri. I don't need it to be anything other than Riri's trauma manifesting itself in a way that she didn't expect that makes her a little uncomfortable. Because that alone is interesting enough for me. That's already an interesting conceit. I think as soon as you start adding like, actually, she was like a whole plan by the villain, it just instantly becomes less interesting because then you're already like, oh, so that cool character dynamic is like not actually a thing at all anymore. You're just like,
Yeah. And then Rebecca was saying, for me, most of the side characters, 80% there, are 80% there. Even two more episodes would have really benefited the show. No, yeah, absolutely. If they had more time to stretch all this stuff out, I think it would have definitely benefited. But yeah, I got nothing else to say on them. I mean, N.A.T.A.L.I.E, I thought started off annoying, but then later on, I really did like their character. We'll talk more about the implication of their character at the end of this. We'll talk about the ending. But then yeah, I mean, like Ronnie Williams, but like again, I wish she had a little bit more time to really to ground the character. But again, like I did really enjoy the scene though in the garage where like Riri realized, oh yeah, I was an asshole, and yeah, like my trauma is really affecting me, and it's affecting everyone else that I love around me. Like with them showing the memory of Riri with her stepfather as a child. I love that moment a lot. So I thought it was really cool. And then all right, yeah. So I guess we'll move on to the next character. I know
Yeah.
Xavier is in this, but again, there's nothing really to Xavier. He's just I didn't really think he was that important to put.
We don't need to talk about every character. We just need to talk about the important ones.
So next character, I think you're gonna have more. You're gonna get more excited to talk about this character. Actually, no, we both are, to be honest with you, because
I am, because it was like we couldn't talk about this in the first half. We only were able to vaguely mention it because it was like kind of a big spoiler. But
a big deal, yeah.
I'm a big Alden Ehrenreich fan, and it was very cool to see him casted. I already knew the spoiler because I got spoiled from like random leakers being like. But then again, also for me, I wasn't like insanely like, whoa, that's hype. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I I thought the build-up was cool. I thought the reveal was solid, and then I thought his entire role in the back 3 episodes was very interesting, and he was very fun. I really liked him in the show. Another character that if they added like 2 or 3 more episodes, I'd be like, yo, he might be one of my favorites of like the MCU like post Endgame.
Oh, wow, okay. Oh wait, I missed this comment real quick. Yeah, tomorrow people saying, how can you make an AI from your brain? That's like too much comic book for me to suspend my belief. You gotta read more comments. Got a lot of this shit.
I'm sorry, man. They already made AI from brainwaves when they made Ultron back in 2014. Like that already happened years ago.
That's true. That's true. It's like Mephisto's like a jerk with illusions in the comics, so it'd be on brand, absolutely. But yeah, Alden Ehrenreich in this show, dude. Unlike you, I wasn't spoiled, but so this was a surprise for me because I was like, because when he was casting this, I was like, who is he? And then like when they said it was a guy named Joe McGillicuddy, I was like, that's not a character that I've never heard of. But I was like, but it's Alden Ehrenreich though. Like, there is something more to this character. There has to be because he's such a good actor. But yeah, when they revealed that like, but I did like his arc when we see him as Joe. He's very, very like timid and just kind of like timid, can't stand up for himself, but it's like a black market like technology. Like
yeah,
look, and that was great. But then we get the reveal that he's like Ezekiel Stane, and I'm just like, yo, I could see this. I could definitely see Alden Ehrenreich being like the successor to Obadiah Stane, very high key. I think that's a very good role for him, for the character. But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. And the fact that like in a way, like if he didn't meet Riri, like him embracing the identity of Ezekiel Stane wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Because again, he was their relationship was based on the fact that she discovered who he was and was blackmailing him and coercing him to meet her own goals, right? And the fact that blew up in her face with him getting put in prison because of her mistake with the heist. And him getting involved with the hood, and him being like, yeah, Joe McGillicuddy's dead, and I'm Ezekiel Stane now, and embracing that shit. And the fact that like he was running away from being his father, and then it ended up being kind of becoming him in a way, I thought was awesome for his character.
Yeah,
but also I will admit though, even like it's a comic book show, but him getting all those bionics in one go by a bunch of with only one person with like technology experience who's just a hacker, that was kind of I was like, that's kind of ridiculous, but and expecting him not.
I didn't care enough. I wasn't like, I was just like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking watching a show with the devil in it, like.
I thought but the thing is, like with me, like I don't really know much about. I know a little bit about Zeke Stane, but like, did because I know he had a suit, but like, did he ever have bionics too? I don't remember that at all.
Did he? I thought he had like some kind of like version of like extremis.
Okay, yeah, okay. That I think would make sense. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do that here with him. I'd be like, yeah, he's using a form of extremis in a way.
That'd be sick. That'd be really sick.
Yeah, a much more improved version of extremis because there's like last time I checked, extremis makes you explode. So,
yeah.
What was that?
I mean, they could just say in the 10 years since it was introduced, like,
yeah.
Hey, we got it. It's chill now.
Yeah. But I really did like his interactions with Riri. Post Ezekiel Stane heel turn. Liked him a lot post heel turn because I did like the fact that like he, even though again he was going more of the darker side of his father, I did like the fact that he did in his heart he realized he's not his dad. He didn't want to kill her. You know what I mean? And it was, and so I thought that was a great. Even though he did, I didn't appreciate at the end of the at the last episode he did say we're still not on good terms and we're not done yet. But I'm gonna let it slide for now. So I do like the fact that they turned Ezekiel Stane into a potential antagonist for a rival for Riri going forward. I think it's a great way to take that character. So yeah. Anything else you want to say on Ezekiel Stane at all?
No.
Want to move on? All right, bet. So yeah, man. The next set of character. I mean, obviously, is the even though I didn't like Riri, I think this character is the creme de la creme in my book. It's the character that Seamus has been waiting to see in live action forever. And I'm still kind of butthurt that you got the character that you wanted. I didn't get the character that I wanted.
Dude,
So,
I got like the best adaptation I could possibly ask for, and you got like a 2-second joke that's still memed on today.
I will never let this shit go. Like
Fuck you.
Rebecca's probably rolling her eyes around, and be like, Mikey, get over it. But I'm just like, no. Marvel fucked me, bro. They literally fucked me. They fucked me and glazed you.
Listen, Marvel didn't fuck you. Marvel didn't fuck you. You fucked you when you were like, yeah, I'm a big Sakaar fan. That's when you started fucking yourself. And I was setting myself up for success by being like, yeah, my guy is a Brian K. Vaughan creation. It was a Bendis written.
That serious. You would have said, I'm a huge Scar fan. Give me Scar in live action.
Yeah, that's when you fucked yourself. That's when you were cut off. That's when you knew. That's when your life was doomed to be nothing, Mikey. When you said, I'm a Scar fan.
But jokes aside, we're talking about our boy, our guy.
None of that was a joke. No, all that was dead serious.
Parker Robbins, aka The Hood, played by your boy Anthony Ramos. Listen, man, we've been glazing this man ever since we saw the set photos because the Hood, which again is a character that a lot of people don't really know in Marvel Comics, but obviously if you're huge comic fans like me and Seamus, we love this character. I read the Max run that Brian K. Vaughan did. I'm getting the artist's name, but art in that book is also like quite good. But listen, off rip, he was my favorite part of the show. Outside of Riri's journey, I loved the Hood in this thing. Loved his character. I love the mystery behind him and how they unraveled it from beginning to end of the show. I loved his relationship with his cousin. I thought what's his name? I think it was Manny Montana, the actor who played his cousin. They really had him and Anthony had a really good chemistry together. It was really cool just to see like his charisma, how much riz this man had. Trying to get Riri as a part of his not just Riri but Riri and Zeke, a part of their crew, and how he was able to and how he was the guy who was going to be talking to these billionaires to get their money. I thought that was really great. And mostly was just a mystery of like, who is this man? Why is this man wearing the hood? Where does the hood come from? Like, and why does this man have scars all over his body and he's covering up with these dope ass like Mayan tribal tattoos? Like, what's the deal with this character? The way they unraveled that, and that was really dope. I don't know about you because Seamus, you obviously you would know because you're a huge Hood fan. But
yes, sir.
Did you love the changes that they made? Because I know Parker Robbins is way different in terms of like his motivations, his background, and all that. Because I did love the fact that for this version, the reason why he was doing the heist was out of spite for his father it was all despite his father, who was a rich billionaire that kicked him out as a 12-year-old and abandoned him. I loved how looking at how much of his asshole his dad was, and he low-key kind of became his dad with the parallels of him being like, it's nothing personal, it's just business, and all that stuff, right? It made sense of like how he would be the person he would turn out to be due to the circumstance that he didn't really ask for. I really like as a Hood stan, give me your thoughts on that change, bro.
I think that change is actually not that big of a change in terms of the motivation for a character, because Parker Robbins has always been motivated by resentment, because he in the comics was just resentful that he was poor. Like, he was just always like, fuck being poor, it's bullshit. I fucking hate that I'm poor, that I was born just randomly poor, and I fucking resent that I just don't have any money and it's fucking me. You know what I mean? And I think keeping that resentment, but just shifting it to his dad, you know what I mean? And just shifting it to a person, I think it's solid. And it's a really interesting, kind of, it feels like a Bendis change. It feels like a change Bendis would have done when he started, writing the fuck out of the Hood in like 2006 or whatever, or 7, when he started writing him. But I really liked it. I think all the changes were more changes to fit him into the story rather than big character changes that changed who the Hood was as a character. And I think that's why he ends up working so well, because so much of him from the comics and from Brian K. Vaughan's and Bendis's stories, you know, is still, it still feels like him. And Anthony Ramos was just so like the perfect fit, because Parker is supposed to be like this very, you know, untrustworthy, somewhat sleazy dude that you also, he's slick enough that you still do end up trusting him, and you still are like, okay, man, you know. And you know, that's why he like had the largest crime syndicate in Marvel history for like a couple of years there.
Yeah,
he was just able to like he was just able to like get people to like agree to work with him. Like, dude, there was a time he had like on the same team, he had like Purple Man, Electro, the UFOs, like all you know what I mean? All these heads that like alone were kind of like not that important, but like together, like you throw the Wrecking Crew with Electro and like Purple Man at Spider-Man, like that, they're gonna give him some trouble. And they were all just down for following the Hood and being like, yeah, sure, you know, yeah, I'll follow you, man. I'll be a part of your crime syndicate.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, it's like that's one of the things I really liked about the Hood, like especially seeing his journey throughout Marvel Comics, when Bendis got onto him, was that like people just saw him as a guy with a hood, like a mystical hood, and that was it. Like I really did like the fact that like he really took advantage of people underestimating him, and I really did enjoy that. And they did that they did that pretty well in here as well. So. Yeah, and I feel like Anthony Ramos was the perfect person. Like they needed someone with that swag, that suaviness to be like, yeah, like this is a guy that like you can trust, that appears to be trustworthy, even though he is a little bit of it. He's a little sleazy and just like, you know, a little bit, you know, dark, you know.
That's what I'm saying. You're supposed to be able to tell that this guy might be blowing smoke up your ass, but he's slick enough that you want to believe him anyway. And you're like, all right, man, I'll go along with it.
And I did also like the fact that they did the thing where it's like, like the hood is influencing his actions, and obviously we do know the person who he speaks to, but they did the thing for comics where like sometimes he just isn't his actions aren't his own. It's the hood that's influencing his actions for him, and possessing him, which they did a really good job interpreting. Real quick though, what did you think of because again, we talked about this before, where it's like, do we think that the Hood was gonna go full monster, like how he does in the comics? What do you think of that final fight, where like with him and Riri, and he does go, the Hood does start to change him a little bit. He does get some claws and like he gets some sharp teeth and some like. He doesn't go all the way, but he does get almost there, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll accept that, you know. Yeah, I liked that final fight. I thought that final fight was interesting and fun. Again, it was just nice to see more of the Hood. It was nice to see them leaning into parts of the Hood and his like lore that you're like, that good. At least they read the comics and they know what the fuck is going on a little bit, you know? Like I that's my issue. I don't mind if they want to change shit. I just hate when they change shit and it's so obvious they haven't read the comics and you're just like, what the fuck are you changing? Whereas in Ironheart, it felt like every character at least was written by someone who had read the comics and was like, cool, I like that. I just need to change it so that way it fits into the story I'm telling, which, you know, is like what I think I've said that on a podcast before, where I'm like, I would prefer the changes be like, yo, we're just trying to fit him into the story rather than like, we're fully trying to like, just make him our own character and say, fuck it. So this was a I was very lucky to receive such a glorious adaptation and such a great actor playing him. I love.
They blessed me for being a Hood fan for so many years and having to, because you remember that first night at in Marvel Club Pictionary where I was doing the Hood and no one knew who the fuck he was, and I was like, guys, I thought this was it was like you and Declan knew who he was, and I was like, guys, I thought this was a comic book club. What, you guys don't know who the Hood is?
Yeah,
it was that and Savage Dragon were the two that I kept doing.
Yeah, I remember that. That was hilarious. But yeah, man. Overall, the Hood, bro, he was my favorite part. I think he might be one of my favorite villains of the MCU so far. I thought that was so good. I will talk about like, you know, what the plans of like, you know, with the post credit scene. But I want to see more of him. I don't know if I want a redemption arc. but I need him to wear that fucking hood again. That's all I gotta say. Also love the fact that he bends bullets. Because I don't think he does it in the comic. Like, I love that. That make it a little more cool. They made it. Oh yeah, this fool with the hood can just bend bullets. I love that shit a lot. It's a little more cool. But yeah, man. But yeah, also with just Rose, I also did like the way one of my favorite parts of his origin was when he meets Mephisto, and they go into how he gets the hood, and that whole scene where it's like when he asks him what he wants, but he doesn't really know what he wants. You just like, I just want to like not be poor, bro. I just want to be rich. I don't want anybody, but when he says he wants to be like a king, and Mephisto's like him, and I'm like his dad. And I did like the fact that he kind of did get that, but obviously, the way Mephisto works, it's not going to be, but the way he gets to it and the way it's going to make him feel afterward is the real cost. I thought that was, and I liked how we realized that at the end. But because of the addiction of using the hood, he just wanted more and more power. But obviously that wasn't going to be unfeasible. But again, it's like how it is with the character in the comic. I really did enjoy.
I wish they included the part where he cheats on his pregnant wife, because I really resonated with that part in the comics. That part spoke to me on a personal level.
Also, I don't know what it is, but like I honestly forgot. I knew the hood could turn invisible, and he has demon energy bullets, but like I thought he could also teleport as well, but I forgot that he couldn't.
He can like levitate. No, there was a time where he could teleport, but I think they took that away from him.
Yeah, he's like,
I think they were like, all right, man. If we can if you can teleport, then you're gonna be too important of a character, so we gotta fucking bring you down a little bit.
It's like, we already have a black character that can do that already. So like we don't need another cloak, a hood wielding teleporter.
Dude, what's wrong? Okay, so I think that should be the next black power. We had lightning as a black power for a couple years. I think teleportation via cloaks would be so sick, dude. Can you imagine? Can you imagine in the MCU, like fucking Ultron's fighting him, and then like 10 black dudes in cloaks pull up on him and start teleporting around him? That would look sick as fuck.
That'd be crazy. But,
come on. They call themselves the Black Sacrament or something crazy like that.
Tomorrow people were saying he could teleport when he first showed up in the comics. I figured he did.
That's what I'm saying. He could teleport. That. They just fucking took it away from him. They were just like, no, that's too cool.
But yeah, we'll talk more about Robin when we get to the ending, but in the post-credit scene. But obviously, I mean, the next, you're good, Seamus. You don't have anything else to say?
No, I love the hood. I'm glad I embarrassed myself in front of the Marvel Club, because that led me to getting a great hood adaptation. Yes. My sacrifice got us here. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, you did this shit. You manifested this, man.
I did this. I built this shit.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Oh, and I'll be damned.
So to move on. So obviously now, this is kind of the moment that like I feel like most people have been waiting for since like WandaVision. But obviously, I think we knew he was in the show because they announced this literally when the show finished filming. But obviously people forgot about it, and people were talking about spoilers and stuff. Oh, spoilers! But like, guys, they announced this shit like a while ago. And I was happy because 2 weeks ago when we did the reaction for Ironheart, and I mentioned this character, Rebecca was like, "Mikey, come on, stop! We've been saying this for the past 3 years." I'm like, Rebecca, we are getting this. They've confirmed this years ago.
It's not a bit. This was leaked like 3 years ago.
Yeah, leaked and confirmed by Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter years ago. So we get the first appearance of the devil himself, Mephisto, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. And
do you think they purposefully made him look and sound like 80s Alan Moore as like a bit? Because that was when I heard him talk and when I saw him look, I was like, "Oh my god, they're just doing 80s Alan Moore."
Mm-hmm. I honestly I honestly thought of Alan Moore as well. I was like, "Why do you sound like?"
Right? Because they gave him the Alan Moore Cockney accent, and I was like, "Cool, yeah, he can do that." But then they just gave him the long hair, they gave him the long beard, and I was like, "That's fucking Alan Moore from the 80s. That's like Watchmen Alan Moore.
Well, I honestly, in this, with the picture I have now, with this shot, I honestly thought it was really a smart idea when he meets with Riri. He's dressed more kind of like Tony Stark, like when Tony Stark, when he's casual, he wears shit like that, and it's like, as a way to make her feel like a lot more comfortable. I thought that was really smart. But I mean, giving the accent was hilarious, especially when he talks to them, when he confronts the hood. I was like, that is hilarious. He's giving a straight up Cockney accent, crazy. But yeah, Alan Moore vibes for sure.
Dude, I just looked at a picture. It's 100%. This looks like fucking. I just pulled up a picture of like 80s Alan Moore, and I was like, "Yo, that looks like Mephisto."
Bro, and tomorrow saying
like,
LOL needs more rings. He said LOL needs more rings. Like, yes, I got more.
That's what I'm like. That's why I was like wanted to bring up. Like, do you think this was intentional in any way, or is this just like a very, very weird coincidence?
Yeah, I think it was a coincidence, bro. I don't know if they were actually thinking about Alan Moore while they were writing the script.
Here, wait. I'll send it to you on Discord, and you can.
But just yeah, while you do that, just like off rip, bro. What did you think of? Because obviously people were clamoring for Mephisto ever since WandaVision. Honestly, I thought it would make more sense for him to show up in WandaVision. But what do you think of the change of no? We're gonna to make Riri as a character a little more interesting and to implement the idea of tech and magic together. What do you think of him being introduced here? One of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe. Period. Like, what do you think of that being introduced in Ironheart of all things?
It's infinitely more interesting than if he showed up in WandaVision. If he showed up in WandaVision, I was one of those people that never understood why they kept going, "Oh yeah, he's coming in WandaVision," because I was like, what does he have to do with Wanda? Like, what does he have to do with any of this? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, Wanda's never had to really deal with Mephisto ever. Why do you think he's gonna be here now? Like, I don't know. That was always incredibly weird to me. So I was like, no, I don't really I don't care about it being a WandaVision or anything. All I care about is if he's used well. And that's why I think I really liked him appearing in this, because I think he was used really well. And he was used really interestingly to actually finish a character arc in like a very insane way by having Riri make that deal at the end,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, bro. I mean, I really did think that like it definitely made the story a lot more interesting now. The fact that he's introduced here, really thought it was even better the fact that they would introduce him here and do a better job of like a kind of like Frosty and Deal one more day situation than they would if they tried to do it with Spider-Man. So
yeah, it worked better here than fucking
yeah. We
don't day, man.
We don't talk about that. But yeah,
we actually do almost every podcast. We mention how much we hate it.
Yep, absolutely. I did really love the fact. I didn't really like Mephisto in here. Again, when we first get introduced to him, when we see him with the Hood's origin, I love that discussion a lot. How he's able to manipulate people and coerce people, which is how he kind of, I guess, he's attracted to people like Riri and like Parker, where like they'll literally do, and they will lie, cheat, they'll cheat, and they'll steal to get to meet their goals, which is what makes sense why Mephisto would be attracted,
Oh, dude. Eddie Guerrero playing Miss Mephisto would be fucking incredible.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Eddie Guerrero as Mephisto would be fucking incredible. I hate that you put that in my head now.
Oh man, like for next time we see Mephisto, he's just doing this. Viva la raza!
Oh my god, dude. He's got the lie cheat steel shirt on, and he's just like, no man, I'm a big Eddie Guerrero fan.
Yeah, actually I made a deal with him too. What's it called? Tomorrow people saying he's like, didn't Mephisto make Wanda twins? I think he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did technically, but like that has been retconned so far that like it's not really anymore, and like so that's why I'm saying he barely has any relation to her, because like that was the explanation at the time, but also at the time she was still Magneto's kid, but now she's like not Magneto's kid anymore, but she also is, but she also like runs her own heaven, but also like her kids no longer are Mephisto's, but like now that she changed reality to make it so that way Mephisto never actually did that. So that's why I was like, I don't think they're going to add Mephisto in because they wouldn't want to touch that and do that. Yeah. And that's not a strong enough of like a character motivation or relation for them to just throw in Mephisto when they didn't even like, you know what I mean? Like it was just so much that I was like, the show's already doing too much. I don't think Mephisto will be showing up here. Let's like, this seems more like it's like focused on Wanda and Vision rather than like Satan showing up to be like, Argh! It's also, just such a weird, it's in such a, Wanda is in such a fucked position in the comics right now. I can't even talk about it, but look at that. Look at that, dude.
It's just this is Mephisto. Like
that's what he looks like, man. Mephisto, he fucking looks like that.
Oh man, it's so funny. It's just Alan Moore.
They literally fucking were like, yeah, the devil's gonna be Alan Moore, which is hilarious given how Alan Moore feels about comics now.
Oh god, it's great. Well, yeah, no, I did like his introduction. I liked how there's little subtle things that Sacha Baron Cohen decided to do with the character, like the accents, him having a more like typical kind of like I guess like normal like American accent, then he would switch to the British Cockney accent when pissed off. That was great. Again, when he interacts with Riri at the end, I thought it was really dope. But again, it was even though like he wasn't in the show much, it was less little teaser of like what, you know, of the potential, like what of the potential of this character, you know, of the potential we'll probably see of this character in the future. So it was a little appetizer of Mephisto, because again, we see that one shot where when he meets Riri at the end, and he's like stirring his coffee and he gets a reflection of the spoon, and he has a like you see him like they did like a pull. It was shitty. It was like, oh, it was the last minute VFX, but like he in the reflection where you see his face, he's all red and he has glowing yellow eyes. You just can't see it, obviously, because he's in his human form. So like I feel like we'll get that in the future if they decide to do anything with the character in the future. But yeah, just seeing how Mephisto moves, you know, seeing, you know, again, just introducing like, you know, the devil of the MCU pretty much. I love that thing that we talked about how many deals he's made and how he made deals like people who was on the Forbes 100 list and like a Beatle, and it was Ringo. You know, that was hilarious. Also, like the fact that he made that mention of like when because the whole implication of like who the hood belonged to, like people were saying it was I mean, obviously the hood comes from Dormammu, but like the fact that Riri thought he was Dormammu at first, and he was like, oh no, Dormammu was the type of power that I could use to wipe my ass with. I was like, bruh, showcasing like just to remind people, listen, Dormammu's powerful as shit, but he's not Mephisto. Mephisto's a whole other ball game. But yeah, I really did like seeing Mephisto in here. Like Sacha Baron Cohen's performance, and yeah, I thought it was good adding him onto here. I mean, I thought it was a good job. I thought it was dope. And again, really,
I don't know. I just thought that the ass wiping line was funny, just because of how many times they've like Mephisto in the comics has just been like, oh yeah, dude, he's way stronger than me, but I don't give a fuck him, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like, because there have been so many times where they're like, yeah, Dormammu could like kind of like kick my ass, but like I fucking hate him, so I don't care. So I was like, that's cool. I hope they keep that. And like when Dormammu meets Mephisto, if he ever meets Mephisto in the MCU, he does like whoop him, but Mephisto's like, no, fuck you, man. Stop fucking like little broing me.
Yep. Yeah, I got nothing else really to say. So we'll just get to, you know, let's talk about the ending right quick. The ending right quick. So pretty much the show ends again with what we saying with, you know, in our Mephisto section, that Riri. Mephisto confronts Riri at the end of the after she defeats the hood and takes his hood and all that stuff, and offers her a deal, and pretty much, and Mephisto has the trend of like saying like, hey, like, you know, he doesn't really like, they always ask, oh, what's the catch, like what are you asking for? He said, don't worry about that, which obviously I think is an implication of like he's making deals with people in exchange for their souls, which again what he was doing with Parker as well. And he pretty much pretty much the same kind of deal that Parker made. That like he just wants her and wants her to just achieve the goal that she wants to achieve. And he said no, and she even asked him like, "Well, it's just you. All you want is me. No one else will get hurt." And he said, "Exactly, just you, just me." And I like the little phrase that like, listen, we'll achieve great things together, Riri. Like make my millennia. I like the little line. That was cool. And we get the reveal that I thought it was kind of funny the way they played it out. I thought it was like, I thought her seeing Natalie again was a little bit of a vision she was implying that Mephisto was putting in her head of what she could get if she signed the deal, if she took the deal with him, right? Because often we're used to like seeing when Faustian deals are made in fiction, we're used to seeing the hero always prevail. That like, oh no, I don't need you, I'm good. But in this case, Marvel did a really ballsy ass move.
Yeah, and
like Riri took the deal. She took the deal. She accepted that shit. So she accepted Mephisto's deal.
Don't fucking show me one more day, man. Get that fucking, what the fuck?
What? No, listen.
Get that out of there. Don't fucking show me that.
I put it here in context, but like dude,
it's like show me a picture of 9/11. Like I know it happened, man. I've seen the pictures.
Relax, but the fact that like Riri not only just because again the N.A.T.A.L.I.E AI once the magic integrated suit was created was kicked out as a part of the cost of using magic. The fact that Riri wanted to maybe do with Mephisto to just get there just in an effort to get the N.A.T.A.L.I.E AI back, but it actually got her friend back, the real Natalie alive again. I thought it was crazy, and then we got that little twist. She actually did make a deal when she gets the same exact scars that Parker got on her arm. I was like, I applauded it. I was like, wow, what a ballsy ass move. And again, it implicates that, and also further implicates the shade of gray that Riri has as a character. Was like, even though she did learn to embrace and accept her trauma of the death of her stepdad and her best friend, but in reality is that like, but the loss of her best friend, not only once but I guess twice in the form of the N.A.T.A.L.I.E AI, really affected her so badly to the point where she would make a deal with the devil to bring them back. You know what I mean? And I loved that. I was like, that is such an interesting route to take her character going forward. Is like, and again, even though I do have the image of the image of panel of One More Day here, but I thought this was a better version of that One More Day deal with Mephisto and Peter, and between Mephisto, Peter Parker, Mary Jane, I thought it was a better version of that deal specifically. I was like, this is way more interesting than that. You know what I mean? Because if you, and I love how while they have that conversation at the dinner table, and we see the flashbacks of all the things that Riri has been saying throughout the course of the show and what she's been going through. Her entire journey in this show led up to her making this deal with the devil. I mean, it made sense with the plot. I was like, yeah, like this does tie around with what she wants, and seeing what is she willing to sacrifice to be the best, and obviously her soul. You know what I mean? So, like I said in the reaction, this is a hymn. This is just another version of Jordan Peele's Him that's coming out in August and September, pretty much. And I love that. I love that shit. I was like, oh man, all you see is Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans Mephisto would have been a better.
Marlon Wayans. No, I think we need Marlon Wayans as like Dormammu's human form.
That'd be fire. Honestly, I'm for that shit.
I think if you're casting any demon or any devil in the MCU, it should just be played by a famous comedian.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, Seamus, let me know. What do you think of this ending, bro? I know we're talking.
I didn't need you to shove One More Day back in my face, but yeah, it was a good ending. It was I thought it was like, again, interesting character arc. It ended the season character arc for Riri in such an interesting and very cool way. This was like the one thing that I am like, I really need to see another season because this was so interesting. And I'm like, fuck, I want to see how it plays out. I want to see what happens to Riri. What exactly did she give up for Mephisto? Is she going to start working for him? Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a great way to end the season. It was just very cool, very nice. I hope I hope we get another season at some point, or at least that this gets like fully explored in something else somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I that was one of the things I cemented to me was like, even though this show was solid, and also had its fair share of problems, which we've addressed already. But after this ending, I was like, I need a season 2. I want to see where the story goes. I need to see again, like what are going to be the consequences and the cost of remaking this deal with the devil. Like and the fact that she's an Iron Man legacy character in the MCU that made a deal with the devil. like how drastic of a character arc is that? Know what I mean? Going from being involved in a war in Wakanda.
You went from being the successor to a war criminal to making a deal with the war criminal. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What's next? Is Riri gonna become a war criminal?
So our people saying the ending felt meta, and they said super good ending, needs more episodes. 100%. I think that this was the mic drop. I was like, I need more of this shit. Like I mean, it's different. Like, and again, which is why I'm like, okay, like. And
it didn't feel cheap either. It didn't feel cheap. It didn't feel like they were like trying to get me to watch the next season. It felt like it was like, oh, cool. That was a very nice place to end it, and that was a very interesting way to end it. So like, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for more of Ironheart at some point, hopefully.
And it also cemented like, okay, this is the route we're gonna take. This is how Riri's gonna stand out more so than with Tony Stark. Now in cementing that, she's gonna be a bridge between the science aspect of Marvel and the magic aspect of Marvel. You know what I mean? Because because during the lead up where she sees Natalie again after making the deal, she did say that she was studying magic, like and ways to like ways to like get her back with magic for a while. So before when they embrace in the hug. So yeah, like I do like she's gonna. This is what we wrote in the MCU from here on out. Magic, the bridge between magic and tech. I love that. I love that route, and it's way more interesting than the route that they did with her in the comics. You know what I mean? So I'm really. That's what's really exciting about this to me going forward with the character. Yeah, I think we're good on the deal part of it, right? I think we're good on that. Yeah, it's great. But so let's talk about the post-credit scene. We pretty much, and I want to talk more about this character, Zelma Stanton, played by I'm forgetting the actress. I'm gonna look at the actress right now, but I know she has crazy bars because she's also a rapper too. She's dope. Yeah, Reagan Aaliyah. Shout out to Reagan Aaliyah. Because her character shows up in the second half, along with her mother, played by the legend Cree Summers. Shout out to Cree Summers. I loved her character a lot. I love how I thought they were just like those the hyper spiritual crystal black folks. No, they're also just wizards. They're also just sorcerers too. I thought that was great. And then that scene with the magic shop. Rebecca's saying right here, good ending. Ironheart season 2, Ironheart season 2, true ending. That's all we get. Bad ending, we get Armor Wars still.
They're not making a Don Cheadle show. They'd rather kill Don Cheadle than fucking.
But yeah, I really do love this character. I did not realize, because it's been a while since I've read this. It's been a minute since I read this run. I did not realize this was the same character that was introduced in Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange, and I love that run Doctor Strange a lot. So
yeah.
That's my favorite run Doctor Strange is Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange. But yeah, I love this character a lot. Love her moments in it. I thought she was very funny, very witty, interesting. A different side of magic post Doctor Strange and also post Agatha All Along, because Agatha All Along also incorporated the idea of witches. So I really did like her character a lot. And pretty much what people have been talking about, I've been talking about, with the show, but her being here also is kind of a little bit of a teaser, I guess, setting up potentially a Strange Academy thing in the MCU, which I think would be dope. But yeah, man. So yeah, what do you think of Zelma Stanton in this show so far?
She's cool. I liked her. I don't know if I need Strange Academy. I don't know if I need it. it's just one of those books that I thought was fun. I thought it was good, but like, yeah, it's fun, but like, when you say like Strange Academy show, I'm like, you know, I don't really know how excited I could get for that, just because I'm like, I know it's not going to be as it's not going to be as interesting as the comic was, and therefore not as good, because I know they're going to rush it. They're not really going to just going to throw it together as like some like, you know, marketed to teens. It's going to be a bunch of like you know, young kids, and they're going to try to make it like a guys, kids can now get in the MCU, because like the last time the MCU was accessible was like 2008. You know,
yeah, true.
So like, and it's going to be something that is not going to be for me, and I don't think it's going to be good either. And I'm just like, I don't trust them to be able to be doing these shows anymore. Like, you got to be giving me 3 more good shows before I can trust you on a new show that I'm like, okay, you know, you had Daredevil Born Again, you had Ironheart. If Wonder Man pops off, then I'll be like, all right, I'll listen to your pitch for Strange Academy. But
I feel like the best way, I think the way they would interpret it is like if Strange Academy would be Marvel's version of like Skeleton Crew, like they did with Star Wars. So
yeah, and it's like cool. I won't watch that, but like maybe someone will. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do like that this character is introduced, because I like this character a lot in Jason Aaron's run Doctor Strange. See, if they were using her to set up Doctor Strange 4 being Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange, then I'd be like, fuck, hold on. The magic? That'd be sick as hell.
Yeah, right? And then I'd be like, wait, but they're not gonna.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really know where we're gonna go with this character. I definitely want to see her again, because like, I thought Reagan and Leigh did a good job. And I want to see her and Chris Summers together again, because I love the mom daughter dynamic a lot with Ironheart. But yeah, I mean, that's I mean, but also I'm very curious to see, like, you know, again, with the post credit scene, you know, the Hood finds the magic shop, and you know, and wants to start, you know, working with Zelma to, you know, get some magic, you know, to get his magic back in a way, or maybe get an upgrade. So I'm very curious on seeing what their relationship, what the dynamic is going to be at going forward, and if this is going to be a potential redemption arc for the Hood, or him just spiraling back into being, you know, being in his old ways, you know. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. The Hood and the Strange Academy, that'd be hilarious. Like, you know, this low life teaching kids magic. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But hey, or it's gonna be the start of his Kingpin arc. Who knows? Like, anyway, I digress. Like this character, want to see more. And yeah, I mean, that's a Magic Doctor Strange arc in MCU. That'd be dope. And Rebecca saying over here said, not sure if this is true, but heard that going forward, MCU movies are events and TV shows will be more grounded. I'm fine with that. I mean,
what is ground? What the fuck? I'm gonna kill them if they mean grounded means boring now.
I mean, like, I would say in a way where it's like there's more spectacle in MCU movies, but with MCU TV shows, it's a lot more secular, more grassroots. Kind of like this. Like,
I don't know. I just feel like that's stupid, because like you're supposed to, like, they're in 2 entirely different mediums, and like, I don't know. I feel like if like movies are supposed to be a relatively short form storytelling, where you're supposed to be able to tell a complete story within 2 hours, whereas a TV show is kind of built to be like longer, a lot more setup. You get a lot more character moments. It's supposed to be like longer form you know what I mean, art. And like, I don't know. I just feel like making it so that way the movies have no development, and it's all just big action explosions and like poor cinematography and poor characters, and then you have to actually go to the TV shows to actually get the actual character part. It's just gonna like make it so that way it's like, well, I don't really care about going to see the movie, because it's not gonna be, you know, exciting. I'm just gonna like watch it at home, you know. Like, I don't know. I feel like Marvel has the time and they have the money to make the TV like visual effects and all that shit look incredible, but they just choose not to. You know what I mean? And they could be making these TV shows as big as the movies if they just put the time and effort in, because like Dude, like fucking remember Game of Thrones? They just put time and effort into that show, and that show became bigger than like almost any movie that was being released in 2019. And in 2019, that we had Endgame and the last Star Wars movie, like, and Game of Thrones was right there with them, and it was a fucking TV show. And it's like Marvel could be doing this with Daredevil. They could be doing this with a couple of characters, but they just don't want to put the time and effort into making those shows look good or have the writing staff required to like be good. So they just like shit out all these like 6-episode seasons that are like, ugh, you know. Yeah. That's why I'm not excited for Ironheart, and that's why hearing that makes me not excited for any of these movies, because like movies are like events, like. So, are you saying the act of seeing a movie is an event? Because I agree with that. But are you saying you're going to make all these movies so it's just all payoff? Because I don't like that. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to like the movie just to see the end of an arc. I want to see a full arc in the movie. Don't just give me the end of it. You know.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think we'll just I think we're done with this section. So Seamus, bro, about that time, bro. So what are your final thoughts? What would you give Ironheart out of 10?
I probably end up giving it like an 8. A solid 8, a very solid 8. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away with anything, but it was just very solid and very good, and that's all I need for a first season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For me, I would say I would give it a 7 out of 10. Again, it's solid. It's good. It's solid. Again, it does have its fair share of problems, like I've said. You know,
I am. To be fair, I am grading on a hood curve. So
you are, yeah.
I am grading.
The hood really. Listen, the hood really bumps it up.
I'm not even gonna lie. The hood really did make me go like, this show's great, even though it was like fine, because it was just novel. I was just like, my guy's up there.
Yeah, I mean, some of the dialogue, like a good portion of the dialogue is gonna be like isn't the best. The pacing sometimes like is good, but sometimes it falls just because of the amount of stuff they're trying to condense in only 6 episodes. So I wish they had more time. Also, we didn't forget to mention like the crew. Not the crew was very one note, but again, they kind of serve their purpose. I wish they gave us a little more time to make us care about them.
Eric Andre was too distracting.
Eric Andre, well, outside
like every time I saw Eric Andre, I was like, that's just Eric Andre. Get him off my screen. He's taking me out of the show.
Yeah, and again, they really did a good job, like making Riri's character like a lot more interesting than it was in the comics, and especially with that ending going forward. Because again, some people didn't like the ending. Some people thought it took away from her arc, but in reality, no, if you paid attention to like what she was going through the entire time, like I thought that ending fit perfectly for the future of her character. So,
people are fucking stupid. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. People are fucking dumb, and yeah, I would even though I said this being a solid, it was all right, it was good. I do want a second season though, because again, I need to see where I would love to see where the character goes going forward, especially with that fucking ending of her teaming with the devil.
Yeah,
crazy. And moral of the story is, love black women, guys. Love, and stop being racist. That's all we need.
I love black women.
Yeah. And
I set all my dating apps to black women only. No more white women.
And make sure you check out where you get your reviews from, because there's a lot of chuds put a lot of bullshit, mostly to make sure they rage bait.
Yeah,
so you get mad at it so they can make money. So
see, we're the cool chuds who get rage baited, and then that's our content. It's just us yelling at fucking Zeb Wells for like an hour.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dude, I'm so real quick. This is gonna be just like a preview we're halfway through the year. Preview for the end of the year. I am scared about our best and worst this year. I'm scared. I feel like some of these comics coming out, I'm gonna be yelling at. It's gonna be bad.
And to avoid a rant that will probably last like 20 minutes, I that X-Men roster you sent me this morning, we're gonna talk about it off camera, because like
we will. But we're just hyping everyone up for these episodes coming at the end of the year, because what do we got next? We got Superman coming up. Mm-hmm. We got Fantastic Four coming up. Comic-Con is coming up.
Yeah.
Comic-Con's coming up. It's not going to be as big because no one has a panel, but like we're comic fans, so like there's going to be a lot of comic shit that we like.
DC has one. Marvel dropped out.
I saw an announcement saying DC doesn't have one.
Oh fuck. Okay, I gotta fact check that. But,
Yeah. And then the rest of the year, I think for stuff coming out is like, is it just Wonder Man
yeah,
and Peacemaker? Wonder Man and Peacemaker, and that's it. And then we're done for reviews.
So yeah, we'll see where it's gonna go from here.
Yeah,
but,
we may insert some more. Oh, New York Comic Con, we might do a couple of stuff from that.
Like,
yeah. I'll be there, so we'll have live on the ground correspondence from me.
That'd be great if we could able to set that up.
Dude, I will literally do it on my phone like this, and I will literally walk up to like Frank Miller in the basement and be like, "What's up, pussy?"
Rebecca said, "Don't forget about Marvel Zombies." Yeah, we forgot about Marvel Zombies, honestly.
Listen, if Kirkman was writing it and they had the same animation as Invincible, I would be like, "Fuck, dude!" But it's like it's What If adjacent, which I hate What If, so I don't care.
But yeah, so obviously, Seamus gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So, but this definitely gets the Indie Corner seal of approval. I didn't make an animation or something for that, like stamp.
Yeah. Take up the entire screen.
yeah. We recommend you do watch it. Like, watch it with open mind. I think you'll find something out of it for sure.
It's also short, so like it doesn't hurt to like check it out and just be like, oh, this is fine,
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, we'll close it out. So thanks to everyone who are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate the support. Please, again, if you haven't already, if you're newly finding us, subscribe. Leave a like on the video. If you've watched Ironheart, let us know in the comments what you thought about it. We really love to hear some of your feedback and some of your thoughts. And all of that. And please check out some of the videos that we've done, for the past few weeks. We've been pumping out a good amount of videos. Please check out the interview I just did with Greg Anderson, my boy Greg Anderson at L.E., promoting his book Hammer. That's on Kickstarter right now. And just to screen share my screen real quick, it's still up. There's 9 more days to go. He's at like 9. He's like a quarter of the way towards his goal to $13,000. So please, if you can, I will leave I'm actually gonna make a post tomorrow. I'm dropping the link for the Kickstarter, and as well if you go to his interview that is dropped on the channel, there are links to his Kickstarter there as well. Again, this product's dope. He's literally cooking with this. I'm very proud of him for what he's doing with this.
Yeah.
So we want
read the pitch. Read the pitch. It's the coolest fucking pitch I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, just up top real quick. All right, so yeah, it says machines and AI rule over humans while the legendary John Henry is reborn by Mother Earth Asase to save mankind from their suffering. And it's like, yeah, it's fucking.
It dope. Sounds sick as fuck, dude. And he's got the giant mecha hammer. It's fucking John Henry.
And if you see the review, he goes into like some of the nuances he's doing with the John Henry character. It blew my mind. I was like, this is amazing what he's implementing with this character.
Right.
Character. So. Yeah, so check that out. Again, check out the Keith Cross interview as well. Check out the Deadly Class stuff, the Transformer stuff, the other After Dark we've done. Again, we put a lot of heart and soul into the channel, and the support and the growth that we've been getting really means a lot to us. And yeah, as always, people, get home safe. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next one. All right.
Peace.